No one in the town of Ridgewood uses the old tunnel under the mountain anymore. It's not because it's dangerous, not in the way you'd think. It's because sometimes it brings people back. Wrong. My name is Noah Miller, and I'm a civil engineer. My life was pretty straightforward until a section of Highway 9 collapsed. That's when the town council called me. They needed me to inspect an old service tunnel, a shortcut under the mountain, as a potential detour route. The weird thing was, this tunnel wasn't on any modern maps. The only record was a faded blueprint from the 1940s, tucked away in the town archives. It was a ghost on paper, but when I drove out to the coordinates, there it was, a concrete archway swallowed by ivy and shadow. From the outside, it looked like any other forgotten piece of infrastructure, solid, silent, and a little bit spooky. The air was heavy, smelling of damp earth and something else, something metallic and old. I grabbed my gear, a high-powered flashlight, a hard hat, my surveying equipment, and stepped inside. The moment I crossed the threshold, the temperature dropped. The sounds of the forest behind me vanished, replaced by a profound humming silence. It was the kind of quiet that feels like pressure against your eardrums. I flicked on my flashlight, its beam cutting a sharp cone through the darkness. The tunnel stretched out before me, a perfect, unending cylinder of concrete. The first thing that fell off were the lights. Old industrial fixtures lined the ceiling, casting a weak, flickering yellow glow. They were on. How? The tunnel hadn't been in use for decades. There was no logical reason for them to have power. I shook my head, chalking it up to some forgotten, independent generator. I was here to do a job, not solve mysteries. I started walking, my boots crunching on the gravel and debris scattered across the floor. That's when I noticed the sound, or rather the echo. Every step I took, every crunch of my boots echoed back at me. But it wasn't immediate. There was a delay, a full second too late. It was like the tunnel was listening to me and then repeating the sound back. Step, crunch, pause, crunch. It was unsettling, a subtle wrongness that made the hairs on my arms stand up. I tried to ignore it, focusing on inspecting the walls for cracks and structural weaknesses. I walked for what felt like 10 minutes, maybe 15. The tunnel was supposed to be just over a mile long, according to the old blueprints. But as I walked, it felt like it was stretching. The air grew colder, and the humming silence deepened. I stopped and looked back, and my heart nearly stopped. The entrance, the bright daylight I had left behind, was still visible. It was a tiny pinprick of light, impossibly far away, but it was there. I hadn't gone a mile. I'd barely gone a few hundred feet, but it felt like I'd been walking for ages. My logical, engineering brain fought for an explanation. An optical illusion? Atmospheric distortion? But no explanation felt right. It was then that I heard it, breathing. It wasn't the wind whistling through the tunnel. It wasn't a change in air pressure. It was the slow, deep, rhythmic sound of inhalation and exhalation, and it was coming from everywhere at once. From inside the concrete walls themselves, inhale, exhale. The entire tunnel was a lung, and I was trapped inside it. Panic started to bubble in my chest. I fought it down. I had to keep moving, had to reach the other side. My pace quickened. The sound of my footsteps became a frantic rhythm. And the delayed echo followed me like a phantom pursuer. Step crunch, pause, crunch. Step crunch, pause, crunch. It was a maddening beat, counting down to something I couldn't comprehend. Then my flashlight beam caught something on the wall. Carvings. Scratched into the concrete with what looked like desperate fingernails. Names, dates, and messages. They were everywhere. I got out, but something stayed. I ran my fingers over the rough letters, a chill running down my spine. Another one read, "Don't trust the one who comes back." Further down, in jagged, frantic script, "If it talks to you, it's already too late." My blood ran cold. This wasn't just a tunnel. It was a tomb. A trap, a place where something awful happened over and over again. My only thought was to get out. I turned, ready to sprint back toward that distant pinprick of daylight, but a movement ahead stopped me dead in my tracks. From the far end of the tunnel, a figure was walking toward me. It was shrouded in the dim, flickering light, a dark silhouette against the deeper blackness. I raised my flashlight, my hand trembling. The beam landed on the figure, and I choked back a scream. It was me, my face, my clothes, my build. It was walking with my exact gait, the slight limp I've had in my left leg since a college sports injury. It was a perfect, horrifying mirror image. As it got closer, I could see its expression. It was smiling. A wide, knowing, unnatural smile that didn't reach its eyes. Those eyes were just empty. It stopped about 10 feet away from me. The breathing sound from the walls grew louder, a rattling crescendo. The copy of me, the thing wearing my face, opened its mouth. And in a voice that was mine but horribly distorted, like a recording played backward and then forward again, it said, "Your shift is over." The next thing I knew, I was gasping for air, lying on the ground just outside the tunnel entrance. The sun was warm on my face. My car was parked right where I'd left it. My equipment was neatly packed in the trunk. It was as if I'd just arrived. I checked my watch. Only 5 minutes had passed since I'd gotten there. It felt like I'd been inside for hours. I scrambled into my car and drove away as fast as I could, never looking back. I told the town council the tunnel was unstable, a complete death trap, and that it should be sealed permanently. They didn't question it. Everything seemed normal for a while. I went back to my life, tried to forget the breathing walls and the thing that wore my face, but then I started noticing little things. I was shaving one morning and looked in the mirror. I stared at my reflection for a full minute and it hit me. I don't blink anymore. My eyes just stay open, unblinking, until I consciously force them to close. And sometimes late at night, when the house is quiet and the world is asleep, I hear it. That same slow, deep breathing. It's not coming from outside. It's coming from inside my walls, from inside my own head. The tunnel let me go. But just like the carvings warned, something stayed. And I think the real me is still in there, walking in the dark, his shift never truly over. Thanks for watching. If you have your own unexplainable stories, share them in the comments below. And if you want more Tales from the Shadows, make sure to subscribe. Stay safe out there.